Here we go. There's the check-ins. Then there will be, we'll go into talking about chapter 6, which is the chapter that we're on. And I've set up some PowerPoints for you on motivational interviewing. We'll see how far we can go on it. It's more an introduction for you. Learning some kind of a counselor technique takes a long time. I go every year. I go for like a 3-day seminar for motivational interviewing for years, you know, just for my own benefit and to go deeper into it and learn more and feel it, you know. So I, for me as a treatment facilitator working on denial and resistance and all of this stuff, that is the counseling technique that I feel that supports the best. So I will be talking about that and where you can get some more learning about that, and you may want to do that. And then there is the you know, what we're really starting with now is so what is it that we suggest for the clients? And for those, of course, that were there for the 5 days, you got the material from MFM, which is a limited edition to be expanded on in English, and also, of course, and mostly the ACORN 5-day intensive material, which is something that I've set up here on the shared screen, and we had decided to do some of the assignments and what have you. So I was gonna go into a little bit of that work so that you can use it for your own benefit and with your clients. And more such will be coming. And so we can go over how we do, you know, how we initiate food plans for people. What kind of suggestions do we make for people with that, and what else? Are we treating people for obesity, with diets, or are we treating food addiction or eating disorders? And so what's the difference? So that's kind of where we're at for the next few weeks. That we are really setting up learning and understanding of what that means, what kind of support, what kind of exercises and projects we suggest to people, what kind of recovery we're suggesting. And next week we will get Marty Lerner from Milestone, and he is a real treat. He's going to be recording his I think he actually just wants to come in on Saturday morning and do his lecture with you. So I just got a note from him that he wanted to come at 8 o'clock, and that so that he will be probably with us for like 2 hours. But you will get his PowerPoints beforehand, so you won't get a lecture from him. I'll check if I can find the lecture from last year and the group from last year and put it in for you guys so that you kind of can get the feel of where he's coming from. But also just and prepare the questions and such. I'll try to I'll put a note up for me around that. So he's doing the same way as Phil, just really wanting to go through the material with you, get the questions and discussions on the way, kind of thing. So, as I am doing with the motivational interviewing today. And basically that was because I didn't have time to pre-record it and send it to you. I'm sorry. So, I am going to put up the feelings here, and what I cannot for the life of me find let me see here, the little thing about qualifications. I think it is, if I write it down here, it's my name. by name, powerless, and it is, remind me, abstinence, feelings, issues, gratitude, which is for me a better parameter of where you're at in your recovery. If you feel no gratitude at all, you may be on a slipping slide. But if you feel a lot of gratitude, you probably are more spiritually awakened and have more strength to yourself. So it's a parameter. So I'm going to start very shortly. My name is Esther Helga. I am a food addict. I am a volume eater. I am powerless and vulnerable over different types of foods, volume of it, my weight and the scale, and other people, places, and things, and quite often my emotions, which have quite often gotten the better half of me. I'm also an adrenaline addict, and so I make myself stressed, and procrastination has been part of that. So I procrastinate sometimes. I'm getting better at it though, and in order to get my adrenalines up high in the body, and that is a real addiction for me, and that is something that I've really had to work on also. So I am abstinent 15 years and 1 month and 2 days today. I am feeling happy. I am alive and energized, loved, and serene. I have felt really encouraged, optimistic, joyful, cheerful, very cheerful. And yeah, so I've been content. I've been in the happy one. I have not really been in the sad one, but I have felt a little scared, and not in a big way, a little fearful, anxious a little, yeah. Anything else? Yeah, no, I think I'm good. So issue for me is to be of service for you today and to support you on your road to recovery and to a learning curve, so that you can really start feeling that you can start doing something. And that's what I encourage. If we do something, that's really where we start, and something will come out of it. I am totally grateful to be living here at the Wyndham in Orlando in the presidential suite. It is so extravagant. And the views from the 17th floor are spectacular. The weather has been wonderful. It's been a little cool the last 2 days while we've had to anyways just sit over the material. So it hasn't bothered me, but I'm going to have a little sun and warmth today and tomorrow before I go back to Iceland. And so I am grateful for you to be participating in this training. I don't know if you know how appreciative I am of you being willing to do this, and gives me a lot of hope for the future. So I am thinking, would you, Laura, be willing to go next, and then Clarissa, and then Benny, and then we'll go ahead with the next people on the list. Go ahead, Laura.
Can you put the list up there, or oh, you can't find it? Du ert með mutað. Du ert muted.
It's my name. Thank you, Laura. So it's name, powerless, abstinence, feeling, issues, gratitude. I'll remind you.
I think I remember it.
Okay.
My name is Lara, and I'm a food addict, if I should add that. I'm powerless over food, volume, sugar, wheat, starch, everything. Powerless over other people, powerless over my feelings, powerless over expressing them. And yes, feelings. I'm feeling excited, encouraged, relieved, content, and peaceful. Issues for today, I don't think I have any. I missed the last session, so I'm just glad to be back and looking forward to this session. And gratitude list, right? That's the last one. I'm thankful for my team, my club, my apartment, my abstinence, my 63 days of abstinence, and yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Laura. So Clarissa, if you'd go ahead, please.
Hey, my name is Clarissa, and I am powerless over sugar, flour, alcohol, people, places, my feelings, not being in control, and my self-esteem too, I would say. I'm abstinent, and I'm feeling happy, peaceful, relieved, cheerful, and hopeful, and grateful too. My issues are to catch up on the homework, and I also want to attend a meeting this week, whether it's FA or Gray Sheet, whatever I can find that's close. I'm hoping to try and connect with Phil while I'm in his area. And I'm grateful to be in Florida because it's sunny and I love the sun, and to have discovered that this was really, I think, my primary issue.
Thank you so much, Clarissa. Good to have you back. And just wanted to tell you that Phil is going to be here up in Orlando until tomorrow and then flying off to Vancouver. So you may not, since you didn't get him before, you may not be able to catch him. I'm sorry to tell you that. So Benny, Kelswell.
Yeah, I'm Benny. I'm a food addict. I'm abstinent today on 410, I think. I'm powerless over my people, my hvað er þrek á ensku?
Energy levels, or yeah, energy.
Energy, yeah. I've been tired both physically, especially physically. I'm powerless over other people, other people's opinion and what they say, how they say it, which means I'm codependent. I'm powerless over that. I feel tired but I'm glad, I'm calm, optimistic, interested in, yeah, hopeful. I'm what is called to, yeah, a bit more sure about what I'm doing than quite often before. I feel I've been watching myself. I have quite strong tendency to get what is it? Okay. I'm curious. I just enjoy to stay quiet sometimes, and hopeful. I'm sure this work I just started in will bring me better physical and mental awareness, and I can be grateful for just where I am. I feel I'm so happy and to have figured that out. I already have, and I know there is far more left. I'm also proud of Esther, really much, and yeah, I'm grateful for my family in general, better habits in communicating and things. Okay, thank you.
So did you have any special issues, Benny? I've missed out of it. To talk about.
I didn't talk about it, but yeah, I would really much appreciate if someone is interested in doing the study assignment and work together, for example, on Zoom or whatever. I'm missing the. I'm far behind you, and that worries me. Thank you.
Thank you, Benny. So then we will have Anna, William, and Esther. So Anna, if you would please come in at this point.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
So, wait, I don't see the questions, so I need them.
Oh, I'm sorry, I was muted. So it's name, powerlessness, abstinence, feeling, issues, and gratitude. And ask me, Anna, if you forget. I couldn't find the sheet.
I'm powerless over my feelings and emotions. I'm powerless over... Well, that's about it. Abstinent today, and feelings are hearing an ocean in the background. Is that me?
No, I should mute. Sorry. There's
Yeah, like
something going
you're
on out there on the corridor. I'm sorry.
okay. So I'm feeling grateful. I'm feeling worried. I'm feeling uh, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling happy. So um issues or something, is that after? I think I'm gonna do issues and then I'll do gratitude. I don't really have the issues that I've been feeling this week is it was very challenging with cravings. I'm realizing that I have a strange kind of thing going on in the evening where I not every evening but maybe twice a week that I'll have cravings after dinner, and that's very, very difficult, has been challenging to deal with, the craving aspect. But yesterday I didn't have it, and I was wondering why I don't have cravings, and the other days I do have these cravings, and I don't eat anything different. But my thoughts are the obsessive thinking about food. And where is that coming? That's the thing that those are my issues that I'm aware of with the food, and it's very strange. That's really challenging. So I'm grateful that I'm here for this class, and I'm grateful for my awareness. And I'm grateful that I found a new gray sheet sponsor. Though it was challenging, I found one. And I'm grateful for being in here and being safe. And I'm grateful for my animals and my bike. And for the day today, I have a great program for myself. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Anna. Very nice to hear you today. So if you would mute, and we'll have William come in, please.
Good morning.
Good morning. Let me see. How can I see? Do I see you? Yeah, there you are. Go ahead. So remember, it's a name, where you're powerless, abstinence, if you're abstinent, feelings, how you're feeling, issues for the group, and the gratitude if you have.
Hi, I'm William. Special hello to all my new Icelandic friends. Missed you. I am an overeater. I have not been abstinent totally, to be perfectly honest. I have lots of reasons for that, but I guess you call those reasons excuses. So I am powerless over certain aspects of my eating behavior, and powerless over some of my reactions and emotions. I am grateful for the program. I am anxious about the fact that I've been away from it for 3 weeks and gotten behind, and while I've been trying to catch up, I really don't feel in the swing of things. Also, I'm anxious about the fact that I've been traveling and unsettled, but I hope that's going to resolve over the next few weeks, because I need that security of a regular schedule. I'm grateful for my family and the support they give. My issues are to get back on track with the program, and also to get back on track with my eating. So that's kind of it in a nutshell.
Thank you so much, William, and really good to see you again. I missed you too. So Esther, if you would go next, please. Thank you.
Hi guys, nice to see you. My name is Esther. I'm food addictive and I'm powerless over food, volume of food, people and places, emotional and too much work. I am abstinent on day 114 and I'm feeling powerless over yes, I think that's it. My feelings, I'm peaceful, I'm calm, I'm a bit I'm a bit happy because of the light. It's on the sun today, and I'm also patient, and I'm just looking forward for this session today. I like to work in this. I just like to follow the program today, and I'm grateful for MFM and my Infact family, and all you guys, and my sister and my friend Inka, on the 12-step program and my GSA sponsor, and yeah, I'm just I'm my family also. I think that's all. Thank you.
Hi, sorry, can I interrupt for a minute?
Yes, you can. I'm trying to get Mandy in, so just go ahead, Anna.
Yeah, thank you, Esther, for your share. Okay, so I got a text from Mandy. She wants you to send the invite Zoom again.
Yeah, I'm doing that,
Sent it
Anna.
this morning, but she just texted me. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I did send it again this morning, but obviously she's having difficulties in getting in there, so
Yeah.
I'll do it again.
Okay, I'll.
Thank you for that. Let me see. Where is it that I can get the? Let's see. Just need to. I'm just gonna pause record. Okay, we're back on. So now we've gone through. We may be getting Mandy in here soon, I hope. And everybody kind of set in what they needed to set in, and not a lot of issues. There's issue around homework. I can see that, and I really appreciate you talking about it. And it is something that we need to be careful about. It is a part of the final grade and the passing grade. So we do need to be careful to get those assignments and exercises in. It is better that we do it on a continuous basis, not all in one. It's going to be I think it's going to be more overwhelming. The thing with the assignments and exercises is that you don't have to be perfect. It's just doing it and doing the best you can. But I'm grateful for you, Benny, to really ask for and encourage people to be with you. And I don't know how much people have started working together on this, but for me, when I was doing a similar training many years ago, it was totally essential for me to have support with others, as it is for anything that we are learning to do in this kind of a program. It is basically learning to step out from being the me and the I into doing it as a we program. And the more we learn to do it as a we, the better. I have needed and benefited extremely with having a lot of support in my work. And I know I would probably not be alive if I hadn't had my supervision, my support groups around me, with my work as well as my personal recovery. So I seriously encourage you to really start at this stage to understand and learn from each other. I followed up of my son, who is a lawyer, and I was so impressed with him as I was visiting him sometimes at his office, and he was having discussions with me or somebody else about certain issues. You know, maybe three times in the session that we were talking about, he would call someone to get assurance, to get more and extra knowledge, and if he wasn't sure, he would always check on someone else so that he could be sure. So if this was such an inspiration for me in my work, that I don't know everything and I don't need to know everything, but I need to have resources from other people that may be able to support me with whatever my client needs, because I'm just the one person with limited knowledge. More people will always have more knowledge and strength. So Mandy is not still here yet. Let me see if I can see her coming in again. Or okay. So I just want you to see here beside me, this is Cynthia.
Good morning, everyone. Hello.
Cynthia is my very, very good friend, and the supporter of us being here in Orlando doing the Food Addiction Institute board meeting. And she did the training last spring, and
Wonderful.
so she's working on her computer beside me here, and I thought you needed to see her.
I can see you all. It's really hard. Do all the things she suggests. She's a very wise woman.
Thank you, Cynthia. So just wanted to know that the person lurking around here is a person that understands and knows, an incredible person too. So Penny, that was basically what you needed, and I support you and I support anybody to be in contact with Penny, and Penny to be in contact with others. Find at least 2 other people within the group that you meet in some way or fashion at least once a week. And I think it's better that people meet like 3, even 4 together. 2 is wonderful. You can go deep into things and discuss. With more people, it may be even more beneficial. So it doesn't have to be up for a long time, maybe an hour or something each time, but to really go into it and discuss it. One thing with the assignments is that you can also be continuing to work on the clients and your friends and people that you've been doing the assessment work with, so that you may have somebody in your surroundings that is willing to be the person that you are working with. And instead of Anna, you know, the lady in the workbook, you may just really do all the assignments around your client or the one that you are supporting. And if that is somebody in 12, like if you're supporting somebody in the 12 steps, you know, it could be even a sponsee that you could be using as doing the assignments, because it is basically just having another human being somehow and being met with the challenges that are happening there. Still no Mandy. Okay, well, we'll see. Let me see here. Okay. Turning this off. So what, again, issues here. Anna, I wanted to address your craving issues. So I so appreciate how open you are, and you're. It's so incredible to have you with us here, and your openness to really discuss where you're at, and that you're really doing this, and having all kinds of experiences with it, because this is exactly what we're going to be having with our clients and supporting individuals. So cravings in evenings can be, what I always look at is the food. Is the first thing is, okay, is there a possibility that some of the food may be causing some kind of a craving? So go over that with your sponsor. Even something like, the printer is going off here.
I think that when I eat yogurt, even if it's a little bit, that on the day, like yesterday, I didn't have any yogurt. I didn't have
Okay.
craving. So I think I'm going to take the yogurt out and see what happens.
Yes, you may be really sensitive to the lactose, which is sugars, the carbohydrates in milk products. So that may be it for you. I think that is an excellent observation, Anna. Not everybody is going to be suggestible to that, but I have had people, specifically people that have had issues with bulimia and eating disorders, that yogurt, milk products, ice cream, creamy things may really be something that trigger for a person. So I suggest that you really take it out for now, at least. You may, after a few weeks, maybe try putting it in again and see if it makes a difference. It might also not, because by then you may be more stabilized in your abstinence. So that is also one thing. One other thing with cravings is that you may not be getting enough food. So you may just be hungry.
I tried.
Anna, just be careful that when somebody is speaking, not to overlap. It's not to say that you can't answer. Just listen and then come in, please. So go ahead. What do you want to say?
Okay, I heard you. I wanted to say that I tried the 6 ounces of protein. I tried the fruit. It's not the food. I don't know if I need more food. It's everything. Yeah, the cravings are that's what's happening for me at night.
Yes.
It's definite. The food makes me feel really full after I eat it, but there's something happening where I have the craving, and it's very painful to have the need to want to eat and really not needing to eat. Basically, that's the strange thing that I'm discovering, and I don't know what's going on.
So my question would be, how are you feeling? What's happening in your thought process and in your emotionals as this happens? Can you acknowledge that? What's happening in your mind and your emotions? Go ahead.
Well, I think the struggles with my family was there.
Yeah.
And my boss, extremely toxic person, and she was sick this week, and I felt a sense of lightness and freedom from that pressure and the fears that I think it has a lot to do with fears that make me eat. Fears.
Okay. So when you feel fearful, that is an emotion that makes you want to eat.
Yeah, fear.
Yeah. So what can you do to do for yourself that is different from eating when you feel the fear? What other ways can you deal with fear? What if you were a child? What would a fearful child need?
Comfort, and it
Yes.
needs to feel safe again.
Right. So is there a way that you feel you can give yourself comfort and safety when you feel fear?
Well, I have a lot of tools, but they don't always work.
Right.
It's not like I'm here, I'm doing all sorts of things and I'm not connecting,
Mm-hmm.
and there's not always someone available to help me through it. So
Mm-hmm.
it's ongoing, it's not always the same thing that will work around fear. My fear can be very up high,
Mm-hmm.
especially around losing my job. It's like my biggest
Mm-hmm.
fear and the terror, and not that it's like, oh, financially, but I do stress over it. There's something about it that's not, and it's the first job that I've been keeping for a long, consistent time, also. So that's a big deal for me.
Yes.
And it's my professional career, so I need to do well. But I don't have the fear today because my boss is sick.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody bothered me. It was easy, basically.
Okay. So your boss makes you scared or augments your fears, basically. So when
Yeah,
she's not
yeah. Any
around, you
little
feel
thing.
more secure.
Sorry?
So when she's not around, you feel more secure.
Yes.
Right. And you say that you have certain things that you do and can do when you feel fear. So what are those tools that you do have that have been useful for you?
Well, they haven't been very helpful. I mean, I do yoga. I try to talk to people. I have my dog. I have people I can call. I have fellows. I have,
Mm-hmm.
I haven't made a lot of art. For some reason, I'm very, it's like the art has been a bit challenging. I'm trying to get myself back in doing it, but
Yeah.
I can focus on doing the homework, reading literature, calling my sponsor, which I also lost. She was very mean in the end, and so saying something that wasn't even true about me. And so it's good that she's gone because I found a new sponsor now. And so just constantly at night, I go to meetings sometimes. That helps. But then after meetings, I will go shopping for food. It's not always helpful for me to go out to a meeting. I have to leave my purse here.
Okay, so the things that really help you, you say, is yoga, meeting and talking with other people, going to meetings. Those are things that, and doing your art. And you haven't really been, being able to do your art that much. So if we're talking about a feeling, and fear is, of course, something that we're fearful of. Basically, fear is something that we don't want to feel because it's fearful and it is not a good feeling. And but with it, my suggestion always is when we are learning to deal with our feelings, just as feelings, instead of eating over them, which is what we've learned to do, is to understand that a feeling is there to be felt. And we may, if the feeling is really tough, we may need a painkiller for it in some way, which might be something we can talk about. The painkiller for us is usually food. This is what a food addict does. They use a painkiller for their emotion, which is food. It can be different kinds of foods, and it can also be different things like tobacco, alcohol, procrastinating, and addiction, process addictions and stuff. So, but what am I going to do instead is the number one with emotions is defining the emotion and the willingness to really feel the emotion. And where do we feel the emotion? We feel it in our body. So to identify where the feeling is. And if you would think about your fear, Anna, if you'd be willing to go with me a little bit. So where do you feel your fear?
Most of it is in my chest.
Oh, up here in your chest?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's where you feel your fear. That's more, I would say that would be more anxiety, but it could derive from fear, which derives from fear. Would that be right?
Yeah.
Right. So if you would just hold your hand on your breast and just let yourself.
It's not on my breast. It's on my lungs more, like the top part.
The top part of your lungs. Okay.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's good to put your hands where it is, just to help you feel where it's at a little more. And when you do that, it kind of how do you say that in English? Directs it. We say in Icelandic, like kind earth binds it. There's another word I can't remember an English word, but I hope you understand me. But to really go in there and let yourself feel where you feel it, and breathe into the emotion and let it go through you. And breathe into it. And again and again. Breathe through the emotion. It is, for the most part, my experience that when we do something like this, we go into the emotion and let it really pass through us, that it does just that. It passes through. And we realize that it doesn't really take a long time for it to pass through, just if we let it. And if we let the emotion pass through us, we will gain energy. If we try not to feel the feeling, we need muscle energy to pull it and push it down, and then we need something else like food to pressure it down and sedate us, make us sedated. So that's where the heaviness, that's where the being tired and lethargic comes from, trying not to feel our feelings quite often. So I don't know if that would be something that you'd be willing to try, Anna, when and if this comes out. And this is, just a reminder, why do I have all these emotions up here? Why is that something that we start taking a look at? Because that is the basis of the person. How does a person feel? And is the person really willing to feel what they feel and starts doing something about it instead of sedating themselves? But we need to learn to do it. And this is one way. Sometimes if we are in a bad way, and many clients can be, some clients have just, lost everything and, have had a lot of trauma in their life and abuse and all of that. So they could be like, their head could be, poor me, I'm a victim all day long. That can, of course, be a big problem for a person if they're stuck in being there. So I have a I don't know where I learned it from, an exercise, which is once or twice a day, set up a time, 5 minutes after 3 p.m. or something, for 10 minutes or an hour even. I am going to feel miserable. I'm going to feel how much of a victim I am in my life, how much I've been abused, how angry I am, how whatever is happening to me. This time, at 10 after 3 today till 4, I'm going to be in that state. I'm going to take off of work. I'll turn the phone off. I'm just going to really let myself be in those emotions, whatever they may be. It could be sorrow and sadness and whatever. And then when the time is up, I've done it. It's been something that I've done. I felt the emotions. Once we have, we can just say also to our minds, okay, now I've done it. Now I'm going to start doing something different. And we will have a sense of accomplishment. We will have a sense of we've done something, and that changes the energy of a person. It might not have to be for so long. Maybe as you try to do it and keep yourself in a bad way for an hour, you will see, wow, this is a long, long time to be in those emotions. Once you do it consciously, you see. And you may only want to do it for 5 minutes, or maybe then just 1 minute. But it's necessary to feel the feelings. So Anna, when I'm saying those things, how does that make you feel?
I'm doing those things already in my life, and I'm trying to feel them.
Okay.
And when I'm more grounded, I can do it.
Yes.
But when I'm so panicky and distressed, I think I'm already too far ahead of myself, and I don't know how to calm myself down. Then that's what happened. And then the only thing that really does help for me at that point, I realized from the experience, is that the food was so perfect. You know, it was like excellent though.
Uh-huh. So Anna, are you willing to get some feedback from the group about grounding? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm working on it myself. It's not like it's not simple. It's like the human being. It always like changes. It's not like, oh, with food, it's always the same. It'll always work on some level, but that's not how I want to live my life. Obviously, as a therapist, you know, as a human being, you know, to get to that level of happiness and to deserve that for myself, it's a whole nother me. And I'm stuck with this me, you know, this me, not to identify it as a story, but so I'm more aware of how I'm using food and how beneficial food is for me to calm myself down. And I feel kind of resistant about hearing a solution, because the solutions have a table full of solutions, and I'm still trying to understand the perfect solution for myself, because the perfect solution at the moment is food, and it's very important that it's there. It's there for a reason. And you know, feeling my feelings, I could feel the same feelings for a whole day. It doesn't end for me, it's like the feelings are, so that's all I want to say. I mean, people can maybe share about how they relate to it, or how they are with their feelings and how they do it. But I don't want any feedback like I understand or something. That doesn't really important to me. But please have them talk about how they are dealing with this issue or not dealing with it, because I am sharing a lot of personal information and I feel vulnerable, but I also like to hear from other people if they're open to sharing how they are dealing with extremely difficult, you know, the most triggering that you can get. How do you really deal with that? That's what I would like to get feedback on.
Thank you, Anna. And this is actually what we have gone over, being the kind of feedback that we bring into the group. So thank you for reminding us of that also. So it is, again, what Anna was saying, and you said it's in such a good way. We're sharing in a very vulnerable way when we do this. And we don't need people to say, well, let's just try this and do this. Just say things that have been working for you if there's anything, or if you identify with what Anna is saying. So anybody wanting to share and give feedback in that way, open up your unmute and would be good to hear you.
Anna, thank you for sharing. I have in the intense in Hlíðarskóli, I did have an experience of screaming out the anger I have, and that was really releasing. But I have another way also to express myself, that is writing down what I'm feeling, and just for myself in a book or on computer or whatever, and that helped me. So I just wanted to share. Thank you.
Thank you, Esther. So anybody else wanting identifies with how Anna is she is feeling in some way and are willing to give feedback. Please don't feel shy giving feedback to your colleagues here. Go ahead, launch in.
I just want to say, I think it's a vulnerable topic. I don't think anybody.
Anna, you're not supposed to say anything until you've gotten your feedback.
It's not for me. It's not for me. It's for them. I don't.
Okay, this is just how I want to conduct this session. That people give feedback when they have done giving feedback. The word is back to you, Anna. Okay. So anybody else wanting to give Anna feedback? Okay. I want to give you feedback, Anna, and I want to say that I totally understand and I identify with being fearful and having anxieties. And that is something that I have had to deal with all my life, and from very, very early age. And I still do. I wake up in the morning and I feel the voices in my head come up. They wake me up and say, Esther, have you done what you needed to do? Have you been doing enough? Are you enough? And so this is me. This is what I have and what I have had to deal with, and I still have to deal with. It's not like I feel just totally cared for and secure within myself all the times, at all times. And what I have done is a lot, as I hear that you have, and some has worked and some not, and I thought it was so nice to hear you say that sometimes when you don't feel grounded, you have a more difficult time using the methods. And the most important thing, that the food is the solution. That was the solution for me around, all the time. That was the solution. This is why the food is so difficult and for me and was. But today I haven't had the food to use. So I've had to really get into my emotions, feel them, and learn to do that. And that has really helped me. And one of the best things I think I have learned was that to understand that I get powerless in my emotions. And once I do, I get compulsive in my emotions. And that's when I lose my groundedness. And thank you for reminding me of the word that I was missing before, that I miss being, that my grounding isn't there. And that's where I I've had to learn to go back to. Sometimes it works for me to just take myself as a child into my arms and just really concentrate on that. Sometimes I just need to put something on for my ears to sedate myself somewhat, something like nature sounds or something. I'm sure you've done that. Being an art therapist, as you are, using all kinds of arts like singing and dancing and drawing and reading and all kinds of things. Writing has been good for me. But when the fear comes up, and the main thing for me has been to acknowledge it and to just let myself to trust that it's going to pass, and just go into it and letting it pass. And that's been the easiest way when it comes down to it for me. So thank you, Anna, for your vulnerability and for opening up to this very sincere issue. And I agree with you. It is something that is very delicate for everyone. So back to you, Anna.
I feel that one person's experience is everybody's experience, and I feel that we can all relate to a lot of things of each other. So I just want to encourage people that, yes, I feel vulnerable. I feel people are not sharing, their own vulnerability, and being more open makes me feel like, hey, I don't want to be open too. But I'm encouraging myself, because this is, for me, I'm doing this for my recovery, to continue to just be honest here. That's all I ask of myself, is to be honest. And my experience is everyone's experience on some level. We're here together for the same reasons or similar reasons, or to learn, and so I'm not afraid of being open, because I change. I don't stay the same person. So for me, this is not my identity. It's something I'm dealing with now, but I know I'm not going to be here for a very long time. So my identity, I grow very fast. So I am more comfortable sharing and being open. It doesn't affect me in any way. I'm not afraid of being vulnerable in that way. So for me, it's liberating. Thank you.
Thank you, Anna. So wonderful. So I was thinking if we would take like a 10-minute break right now, and we'll be back. My time is about 9:15 in US time. It's probably 2:15 in Icelandic time. So if we'd be here like 5 minutes to 9:25 for US, 2 in the Icelandic time. Thank you.
What am I going to eat? Because now I'm hungry. I should mute myself. I don't think.
Okay, everyone, calling everybody back. Okay. My earbuds on here. So. Okay, I just want to start again, and I was going to hear a little bit from William, if he's there. There you go. I can see you. And so William, just to go back to the issues on your food and your getting on track. Can you please unmute? William, can you unmute? You want me to unmute?
Yes.
There you go. So is it anything that I could and we could do to support you to get on track with your food? Like, you know, one suggestion might be that you'd stop eating certain foods, or you know, just in any way be a support for you to get on track with some kind of abstinence that you feel comfortable about at this point.
I don't really think so. I think my main issue was with traveling, etc. I was getting off track and not eating properly. Now that I'm not doing that, I think it's clear that I can, you know, get back with the program. And I think part of that also created cravings, as Anna was talking about in the evening.
Could you repeat this? I didn't quite hear.
I say part of the side effect of my dysfunctional eating or not following the program was that I would develop cravings in the evening, much like Anna.
Yeah.
So I think it was really, in my case, my solution would be to start eating according to the program again and see if that problem went away. Because certainly during the time that I was in Iceland and also when I first got back before we started to travel, the cravings weren't there in the evening. In the evening is the most vulnerable time for me.
So do you think that that may be because of portion sizes or things that you have added to your food?
I think it's probably more related to portion sizes.
Right.
So I was probably not, for instance, getting enough vegetables in the evening.
Right. So my suggestion is that, and it has helped some people that would be in your category, to maybe add a fruit also.
Okay.
So that you'd be getting more, be sure to get more food. So like vegetables and not a lot of fruit, maybe just one, you know, portion of fruit, no more than that. But protein, as much vegetable as you could, and maybe add a fruit to be sure to get enough.
Sure. Let's give it a try.
Yeah, well, I hope that works for you, because the craving kind of, you know, you don't want to have, you want to get rid of, you want to have the freedom from craving, don't you?
Right. It just always seems a long time from, you know, let's say 6 o'clock in the evening when you eat until 8 o'clock the next morning or 7 o'clock the next morning is a long period of time.
Yes, absolutely. And that may, you know, that definitely indicates that you are not getting enough food. You're just hungry.
Okay.
So you are having 6 ounces of protein?
Yes, yes, I'm following the quantities, yes, except with the exception I was not getting as much vegetables, so.
Yeah,
I would
yeah.
agree.
So that might be the thing to do for you at this point, to just really augment the portion of vegetable, add maybe a fruit, and see what happens with that.
Okay, I'll let you know.
Let me follow up on you, William.
Okay, thanks.
So we have, let me see, Benny, Anna, William, Esther, and Laura, Clarissa, homework, nothing special. Okay, so if I'm missing any issues that you wanted to get in there, please let me know. Might have. But I would really like to hear from Mandy. I'm glad you got to be with us. And for a check-in from you, Mandy, are you there? Can you turn yourself on, or are you gone? Let me see who left. No, Mandy is here.
Hi.
Oh, there you are.
I'm doing, yeah, I've had a rough week because we're going through potential layoffs at work, and hasn't hit me yet, but it's like playing Game of Thrones. People are going to get bumped. It's been a rough week. And I actually binged, like out and out binged, I think for the first time in longer than I can count. So I was just, I totally reacted to the stress, and no excuses for it. It's just, it is what it is. It's what I did. And it's definitely, yeah, when I look at it, I definitely turn to sugar. It's definitely, yeah, that reminded me of it. I'm typical, and sugar is what I should be giving up. So it's been a wacky week for me. That's my check-in.
Yeah. And your emotions right now?
I'm better. I'm better with it now.
Can you see the screen, the emotions on the screen?
Yeah.
Check on them and let us know what comes up for you there.
Can't see them. I can see your computer, but it's not showing the emotions. It's just showing
Oh, does
what's on
nobody?
the computer.
So does anybody else see the shared screen, the emotions?
You're showing the explorer, Esther.
Huh?
You're showing your, there I see you. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, let me see. Share the emotions. There, I got it. Do you see it now?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Because I was seeing it, I didn't realize you weren't. So I'm sorry about that. So, Mandy, can you see it now?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
I'd say the level of intensity has decreased over the week. It was strong. I was really angry. I'd say seething, panicky. It's gone back to mild. I feel annoyed that after this many years of work, I have to look at that. Intense. I'm definitely tense. So it's gone from strong to mild over the week.
Okay. Thank you. And what else is, any issues you want to talk about at this point? And then if you have gratitude.
Issues are, I think this is really good for me. I'm definitely poking my inner addiction beast, you could say. I think the more I look at what I'm looking at with myself, the addiction piece, the more I seem to be scrambling to try to put emotions to it. I don't know if that makes sense. I'm grateful that I have enough seniority right now that I have a job. That's what I'm grateful for.
Okay. Well, and I sincerely must say, I hope you you keep your job, and if not, you get something better.
Yeah.
For sure. Thank you. Thank you for this, Mandy. And it's really good. And I'm thinking next time, could we possibly try to get you on before the session so that we don't have this problem?
Yeah,
what I did
yeah.
now is I both sent the link in a specific email, and then I also invited you in from the group as we started. I don't know which one was more worked for you.
The link seemed to show up better.
Okay, thank you, Mandy. So I'd really appreciate if you try to we would get you in before the session next time. So wonderful. Thank you everybody for coming in with whatever is happening for you. And as we talk about and Mandy, it's I hear you, rough week, and we look in and we use sugar and or binge sugar. We get stressed. We use the substance, and this is what I talked about last time. You know, it's the problem is that it does something for us, and it's been a solution. So if we're gonna, we can decide to use this onward as a solution or to find other ways. But while we're finding other ways, it can be a tricky business. But the first thing is always abstinence. And in order to get abstinence, I would suggest that you do that with the person to find a sponsor in some 12-step program and or find a professional like me or a dietitian like David Abram or Theresa Wright or somebody to set you up with a food plan that might work. And so that might be the first thing to start doing, to be sure that we are not using foods that continuously trigger us into eating more or less or whatever, not be in the right, so that we're not using the food in some way or manner. That's what I'm going to say. And so then the second part is always the internal work, that is learning behavior, learning to curb stress, anxieties in a different way from this so very, very good solutions that we've had in the past. And so how do we do that? That can be very different for different people, but we obviously need to learn to deal with our emotions. And I will never be tired of letting people know of the 12-step program called Emotions Anonymous. It is an amazing program that really works for people that have emotions, as I sometimes say in a humorous way. And so that might be something you guys want to look at. But of course, since we're working with food-related 12-step programs or any programs working with a food-related solution would be something that I'd suggest. Okay, so for you, Mandy, it might be an idea for you to have like a short session with me or something around what you want to do with your food, if you're willing, or have ideas about what you might start doing with it, or what kind of a support you might be willing to commit to. I don't know what that would be, or if you're there yet, or whatever. So please be in contact with me so that we can work something out, and I can be some support for you in that way, if that is what you need. Okay, so what I want to do now is basically go into the workbook. And what I was going to actually what we had talked about doing was basically working on the first step assignments from Acorn. And William and Clarissa were there, of course, in Iceland, so they had started working on those, and everybody else. So the new people within that are basically Mandy and Anna, and so I was just going to see if there were anything that, if you had done any of those writings, or if anybody had a writing that they'd be willing to read for us at this point.
I did my writing.
Okay.
So
do you want to do reading?
no, that's okay. Thank you.
Does anybody want to do reading? Laura, where are you at in your writings?
I think I've completed most of these lists.
Okay.
You want to get something?
Yeah, so which of them have you not specifically gone through with a group?
With this group or a group?
With a group.
I think, I feel like I've read so many, either in your group or in the intensive.
Yeah.
But
was there any of those that you were going deeper into?
Yes, the one where I was supposed to list 15 incidences of powerlessness.
Yes. Would you be willing to read that over?
Sure.
Yes.
1 second.
Okay.
Okay, so I read them when we were in the intensive, and Phil wanted me to read them again and have someone comment on my emotions in all of them.
Sounds good. So just to go over for everybody the feedback rules and regulations for when we start reading those, it is, I'll run it by you guys here. Guidelines for first step feedback is begin by sharing a specific way your identity, and then let the person know if you thought the work was food specific, connected with their feelings, in touch with powerlessness. And the third, you can share all the things you noticed in the person's verbal and nonverbal communication. So this is the guidelines for feedback for the readings. And so, Laura, go ahead. And the regulations is that Laura really goes through what, reading it, and I suggest whenever you do these readings that you do it in a slow, try not to do it too fast, and really ground yourself in them. And as we are listening, let us feel what we feel, basically, as the person is reading what she is reading, and come from there when we give feedback. So go ahead, Laura.
Thank you. Okay, so identify 15 specific times where you were powerless over food. Number 1, when I was in America and it was almost, I was in America and it was almost time to go home. I wanted to take some Quest bars, cookies and cream, because that brand wasn't available in Iceland. I bought a whole box of it and put it in my suitcase, but finished the whole box the same day. I repeated that cycle for a few days and then gave up on the task. A week later, when I was back in Iceland, I saw this brand in the stores. Number 2, I woke up alone in my apartment found right away that I would not be abstinent that day, so I go straight to my phone and order Domino's pizza. Number 3, I went to my best friend's house after not seeing her for half a year because she goes to school in Denmark. She was opening up about difficulties with her boyfriend, but I did not hear a single word she said because I was so preoccupied with what I was going to buy at the gas station and binge on when she would finally stop talking. I had nuts and bread. Number 4, I had had a month of back-to-back abstinence after the intensive. I felt great and was finally admitting that this was a disease. I had made so much progress and I was arrogant. I decided I was going to drink alcohol that night and ended up binging on the dinner I had left on the table earlier that night. Number 5, I had had a great night with my friend on a lovely Icelandic summer night. I offered to drive him home and late at night and had no intention of stopping anywhere on the way back. But on my way home, I found my wallet in the car. I immediately decided to go to the grocery store to have some food, which ended up being more than I planned on. Pizza rolls, donuts, orange juice, and white chocolate-coated nuts. Number 6, I woke up exhausted physically. I felt I had to eat a whole elephant to regain my strength and energy. I had my breakfast and lunch back to back, and around noon I had an extra weight soy pancake. Number 7, I was living in America. There I rented with seven other girls. One night they were all going out, I didn't join them and lied that I was sick. After they all left, I went and ate out of all of the girls' cabins. Chocolate chip, chocolate-covered almonds, granola bars, and cereal. I made sure to distribute my stealing evenly between all 7 girls so no one would notice. Number 8, I was in relapse one day and had finished all my stash I had ordered home. I was careless that day, so I went to the bin outside and got the trash-smelling breadsticks to get my stash. Number 9, I was in my apartment and really wanted to binge. I had nothing exciting in my fridge, so I go over to my grandparents and finish 1 whole box of Honey Nut Cheerios and 1 whole box of Kellogg's Special K with extra sugar poured over it. Number 10, I was in Russia with my team playing in the Women's Champions League. I was roommates with the Swedish girl on the team. If there's anyone on the team I could not steal from, it's her. But I was so fed up with the whole season, some teammates, and especially my coach. My roommate went to the shower and I ate all of her snacks. Nut chocolate bites, homemade date bars, and oat bars. Number 11, I was inviting the boy that I'm seeing over for dinner for the first time. I didn't feel like explaining the whole weighing and measuring, even though I had told him that I was addicted to certain foods. So I didn't weigh the salmon, vegetables, and sauce. A few days later, I had a binge. Number 12, I had had a bad day and ended the day at practice. I was still furious at my coach and everything he did annoyed me. After practice, I didn't finish my dinner because a friend of mine was coming over. I skipped telling my sponsor that. The next day, I woke up and had a Domino's pizza. Number 13, I was in OA, so I was not weighing my food. I was committing it to a sponsor though, and committed yogurt, mango, and tablespoon of sugar-free peanut butter for breakfast. I had mastered the art of getting the whole jar of peanut butter out in 1 scoop with a tablespoon. Number 14, I was home alone on a Sunday waiting for practice at 4 p.m. I was very bored, but also very anxious, so I made 2 big bowls of coconut fried popcorn. I could not run at practice and needed to throw up. I faked an injury so I could stop. And the last one, number 15. I wake up after a binge the night before. I hadn't gone to practice all week, and this was the day I was going to go. Of course, I was going to stop the pinching alongside. On the way to practice, I get very anxious. I know I will suck at practice because I haven't moved for a week and I can't handle sucking. I will only accept being the best at practice. That will not happen today, so it's not worth going. Instead of turning left to go to the field, I turn right and go straight to the grocery store. Done.
Okay, so how are you feeling reading these? What comes up for you feeling-wise?
I feel fine. I'm realizing even more now reading it again how distant I am from the emotions that are around this. I feel like I'm just explaining a story that has no emotion in it, so that's a little scary how detached I am from the emotions that are around this, because I know all of these pinches have something to do with my emotions, but I guess I'm not realizing it.
So can you identify what emotion what is the stream, what is maybe the main emotion that you might be experiencing as you go into the benches?
Can you have is the emotion list in
Yes.
the document?
Yes, you can.
Thank you. Anxious, disappointed, frustrated,
I could hear some words like furious before.
yeah, I guess you could put them in as well. The stronger, angry ones, yeah. Furious, I guess. Pissed off. Jealous. Regretful. Yeah.
Okay.
I think
So,
these score the highest.
Yeah, so these are the emotions that you can see that were there as in those periods of binging that you had.
Yeah.
And so how are you feeling right now? Scan your body.
Yeah. A little anxious. No.
So where do you feel that in your body and how do you feel it? Can you define it somewhat?
Here. Define it.
Staðsetja.
Já, ég veit það. Ég bara veit ekki hvernig ég á að gera.
Just in your body, where do you feel it in your body and how do you feel it? Is it heavy? Is it light? Does it have a color?
It's not heavy. I would not say it's heavy.
But a sense, you don't have to know that much. It's just starting to notice, which is important, Okay. And it has the thing with us. Just wanted to say before we get feedback is that we're coming from using a substance that is a numbing substance, so that we've not been dealing with our emotions, not feeling them that much, and thus not understanding how we are feeling them. And so the process of recovery is pretty much learning to deal with that and learning to feel them. And that by taking ourselves from the head and the obsessive thoughts into the body somewhat, and to really scan and see, okay, so what is happening in my body? How am I feeling? And I remember myself at one point asking my higher power or whatever was there to feel more, so that I would really sense and feel, and I wanted to feel love, and love that I gave and love that I felt. So that was a good thing for me, and it helped me start feeling more of all emotions. But are you open to feedback?
Yes, I am.
Okay, Laura. So anybody identify with Laura's list? And I'm going to put up the feedback guidelines here just for us to acknowledge. Anybody want to give Laura a feedback?
I would, I'm sorry about my video. There is something wrong with it. But I identified Laura with the feeling lack of emotion after or when I know they are there, but then concentrating, or most seldom I am aware enough to actually almost force myself to scan my body and experience them. I identified with the numbness, and quite often I miss them. And maybe because of I know what happens following. Thank you, Laura.
Penny, was she food specific, connected with feelings, and in touch with powerlessness?
I was so self-centered that moment. She was quite food specific, but I didn't get the feeling she were in touch with her feeling, or yeah, I didn't get clear signs about strong emotional connection. No, not so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, any other feedback, please?
Hi, Lara. I wanted to say, this is Anna, wanted to say thank you so much for sharing and the courage to share all of that. That's a lot of personal information, but very honest. And I was happy to hear someone else share some really honest facts about the disease and the discomfort of the disease, and how I also, when I'm talking to someone, can have a whole nother thing going on inside, like, oh no, I cannot meet with you because I have to buy certain foods. And so it's very nice to relate to that part, and I feel so much less alone. I'm like, oh my God, I'm not alone anymore. I feel somebody understands what's going on here. It's so the same. And I'm so happy about that. Thank you.
Thank you, Anna. So did you, if we go to the guidelines, just to help you go a little further into your feedback, was she food specific, connected with her feelings, or in touch with the powerlessness over the situation, do you feel?
I felt that she was reading her list out loud. maybe not so connected to her feelings, maybe like 20% while she was reading it. But it was definitely, it was there, some of it. But, you know, it's not like she was crying and stuff and totally, I think she's more distant from it.
What about powerlessness? Is she?
Yeah, there was a lot of that.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for that, Anna. So, Clarissa, would you want to do feedback for Laura?
Sure. I could relate a lot to her list. Definitely when it comes to the protein bars, there's something that I always allow myself to binge on because I have felt that they are healthy for me, and it says like low sugar. So then I'll have one and then I'm like, it's just starts something where I can't stop eating them. So I related to that. I also related to, you know, taking food from people in terms of like, you know, there's a cake in the fridge or something and I'll sneak in and have some when nobody's looking. Definitely, I would sneak eat all the time. So I could definitely relate to that. And just, you know, not being present. I think almost the majority of my life has been spent, you know, not really being present and either thinking about alcohol or food. And, you know, like trying to make myself so busy that I'm not available to get together with friends because then I can eat on my own and I can eat what I want and I won't have anybody watching me. So I felt she was very food specific. She listed every time what she binged on. I would say that she's probably not connected to her feelings. I can relate to that too. I can, you know, if I was to list off all the 15 ways that I'm powerless over alcohol, you know, it's been a part of my life for so long that even though they're deeply hurtful and emotional things, I have this disconnect that is really hard to get to the root of it. Even though, you know, when I read these things to other people, they're like they can't believe the things I'm reading. And even when I shared my food secrets at the intensive, you know, I felt like it was a very safe environment to share those things. But again, if I were to share them, I think with, you know, normal eaters, they would really be, you know, quite appalled, where I don't feel that same like emotional connection. And I do think that the way that she wrote them, she was definitely in touch with her powerlessness.
Thank you so much for that, Clarissa. I was wondering, Mandy, if you'd be willing to give Laura some feedback. Do you identify at all?
Sure. Yeah, I can definitely identify with the not being there and thinking someone talking about something and thinking completely about something else. This week when I said I did the binge, that's what I was doing. I had coworkers just talking at I wouldn't even say talking to me, just talking at me. And all I can think is my head, okay, I want to go eat something, and it was not spontaneous. It was very directed. I knew exactly what I was going to eat. I wanted chocolate. I was going to do that. So I can definitely relate to the just cutting out part. I felt that Laura, I mean, this was a list that she had previously done. I'm sure at the time she was very connected with what she was feeling. This was just sort of a secondary, but I could picture her reading it the first time and writing it and being very in touch with it. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Mandy. Esther, would you want to give her some feedback? Do you have feedback for Laura?
Yes. Thank you, Laura. I did related to so many things for the related to the self-ruin thing that you are. I was eating even though I knew I would be sick or couldn't do that what I had to do. Sometimes I was in a hospital because I was eating something that I was allergic to. So, and I think you're very good specific, and I felt the feelings and the powerlessness in your stories. And so, yes, I I know this. I know all of this. Thank you.
Thank you, Esther. So, William, do you have any words for Laura?
Sure. I don't really relate to her specifically around the issues she has with food. I did, however, find that the list was very food specific and complete. And as has been mentioned, because she's done this before, it's hard to know her emotional attachment right at this time. I can, however, relate to it as being an ex-smoker and some of my behavior when I didn't have cigarettes and how I would go out in the middle of the night driving around looking for a store that was open to get a cigarette, or alternatively looking in the garbage, or even going so far as to go out on the street and see if there are any butts around. I mean, now it seems so foreign because I haven't smoked in 30 years, but it's still very clear in my mind, so I still have obviously an emotional attachment to it. So I can identify from that point of view.
Well, that was a good identifying, to find somewhere else. If you don't quite identify, there's another addiction there that really kicks in for it. So thank you, William. And I just want to give a little bit of feedback to you, Laura. And I thought you were very food specific. And I with the connected with your feelings, I've been kind of meditating and feeling it out as everybody's been talking and you were talking, and I actually what I'm sensing is that you do have feelings, but the feelings are they are I just need to get the feelings up here just to see if I can really find it. It's I don't really get the word for how I am feeling you as you are doing this. It's some kind of a it's like being somewhat blocked. It's like being somewhat thick. So I'm just trying to get words to the feelings that I get from you. There's like, yeah, I think that it's like a thickness, a dullness, and being numb, and a numbness. And I think all of these are really feelings. And I think what might be good for you to think about is just to really not think that you need to have other kinds of feelings, but just to really start noticing what's happening with you at the moment and what kind of sense you have for yourself and how that is for you. And then maybe go into doing something like grounding yourself in your body and your feet, and doing a little bit of that, stretching and relaxing and into your body, and maybe totally something. And see if that takes you anywhere else, and see what would come out of that for you. But I think the starting point could be just really feeling where you're at, and I think that is very important. And I do feel that you have feelings, Laura. It's just not exhilarated, exuberant, or jubilant, and sometimes I do feel those feelings come up. And I think there's more furious in you than you want to identify with. And I often see the word disappointment, disappointed. So it's a question of what is it that you're disappointed with? Jealousy, somebody doing something that you would want, and regretful, all of these feelings that you were really expressing before. I think they are quite big feelings that are being and will be addressed in your 4 through 9 step work, pretty much. So you're on a very good roll of work, Laura. And I know you have a deep sense of powerlessness, even though I didn't really, get the hit for it as you were speaking now. I know you feel it. I know that you have a very deep sense for it, and that's why you're doing what you're doing here with us. So back to you.
Thank you, everyone. Yeah, I think everyone was right about me being distant, and maybe a good point from Mandy that I was extra distant because I was reading it again. But thank you for this feedback, Esther, because I feel like I'm always trying so hard, because I feel like I get feedback so many times that I'm distant from my feelings, that I'm not feeling anything, that I'm regressing feelings or suppressing, feelings. So I feel like it works in a circle. I feel like I can't feel anything just because I'm trying too hard to feel something, because that's the issue or something. Are you understanding me? So just, yeah, thank you for this feedback. And I think I've made some progress with this whole thing of feelings, but I know I have a long way to go. So thank you.
Thank you, Laura. And, we could go on and on and on with these readings, and I encourage us to do at least 1 or 2 every time we meet now. So that for this time, we need to hop along a little bit. So I won't be able to do more at this point. But this might be also something that you do as you share with each other. So when you guys meet between each other, that you do your reading to the other people. And that might be a breakup. These readings and getting feedback for them. Now you kind of learned and gotten the how to do it. That you make a point of meeting people really to do, and you might be able to start with that. And let's see, somebody's chatting here. Yeah. Okay, Laura, the document that I have up, it is under the welcome package for Acorn in the Dropbox, so that you know which one I'm doing here. So I encourage you to do that. So anything else about these? Did you find it good to listen to each other, to do the feedback, get the feedback at this point? Any feedback on this work? Okay. So I'm going to close this book here and encourage you to keep doing this work, because this is the basic work of doing the first step and working on denial in your disease, and to understand better what it is that we need to learn in order to be willing to continue and be able to be willing as we go along. One thing that I wanted to ask you to do now for this week, which is an assignment, and I don't think I did that last week, which is a feeling assignment, writing down a feeling diary. Did I talk about that last week? I don't think so. But I do this quite often with my groups, and it is a really, really good tool to assist us in documenting the kind of feelings that we are having throughout the day. And a lot of my clients have been doing this, and I suggest that you do this for a week now, and that we come back with it and at least listen to what has happened for 2 or 3 people. And you made, when we get to the check-ins and the group next week, you can go over what kind of feelings that you had from the feeling diary, and if there were anything that surprised you, or anything like that you thought it was beneficial or not. But the assignment is that you have this kind of a sheet, and you can print it out probably if you want, and the assignment is writing down all emotion words that come up for you during the day. So today is the 10th of March, and I would write 10th of March in my book, my feeling book. And I woke up this morning and I was anxious. I woke up this morning and I was happy, or whatever. What's happy? It's I was optimistic, joyful, cheerful, and really go into the feelings that go with it. And just write down the feeling words. You might have woken up sad and disappointed and unappreciated, so that's what you write. So as you go to work, like Anna, meets with her boss. What happens? How do I feel when I meet my boss? With Mandy going to work, and with all these ambiguity happening, what kind of feelings do I get? What's happening with the other people? So what's happening in the emotions with me where I'm at? And then when you have finished the day writing down into your feeling book, you close that. You close that day, and you start a new day tomorrow. And you do this for 7 days, and you do not look at the days before. Only after 7 days, before next time, will you open up the feeling book and review what has been going on in your feelings for the week. So any questions around this one? Are you willing to do this exercise for this week? Yes. Is somebody not willing to? If you're not willing to, let me know. Okay, somebody's asking a question. Thank you. You need a break now, I guess. Let's since we don't have a long time left, can we just take like a 5-minute break at this point and come back?
Yes, but I like to remind you on all the books. I have some of my books here that I don't use anymore. If you like.
So this is one of your books?
Yes, it's good far. That's some diet. And here I have another book. Here is one. I think it's about 20 books here.
Okay.
Can throw away. So
Oh, okay. All kinds of books about food and how to eat healthy foods and all of that stuff, huh?
yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Detox and my. Right.
I'm just taking it out of my bookshelf now.
Yeah. Well, put it in another box somewhere and don't throw them away because it's your history. And I've been keeping those books that I bought around through the years because they're my history, and I kind of like to go into them every once in a while just to take a look. So
Okay.
thank you,
I
Esther.
just like to show it.
Thank you. Like 5 minutes, 5 minutes break. Sorry. Well, anyway, here we go again. So change talk. The more that you can draw out of a discussion of the person for desires, abilities, the adorns, you are more able to help the person. As we're on that topic, it's better to be there than on I can't do it topic. But also there you need to be listening when they're in that part. If a client is saying why he or she can change and why they should change, you want to strengthen those statements and keep the conversation there. The goal is to move the person to a point of discussing the target behavior, whether the discussion is in favor of it or not. So initially, it is not important to reach statements of change, but simply to engage the client in discussions about the target behavior. So what do we want when we get a person in, the ones that is obese, has eating disorders, is miserable, feels the life is out to get them? Well, what is it that a person wants? What's the target? To listen, not to tell the person what is the target, but to listen for it. You know, what do you see as your target? So where do you want to see yourself in a year or so, or 5 years, or how do you think you want to feel? So what's that? How is that different from what you feel right now? So define, to help the person to define that. Let's see here. Why isn't this working here? Well, okay, we'll get back to it. Here, I think, yes, eliciting and reinforcing change talk. This is a real part of the training in MI. More and more intense change talk increases the probability of actual change. So this all comes after you have really listened to the person and established a rapport with the person and with the group, so that they feel that they're part of the group. They're part of, you know, that they have trust. They feel that they're listened to. And so this is, for example, why it is so important, like we did before with the readings, Laura's readings, and everybody giving the feedback. We learn that we are not alone, and thus feel that we are not alone. And then we are more able to trust in the group than if nobody gives feedback. So you can see how important it is that we step in and give the gift of us into the group, and give the gift of us giving the feedback in the group. And that is the responsibility of the leader, to help the group get to that place. And I think we got to that place in the group before. So rolling with resistance. Resistance, sustained talk, and ambivalence are normal parts of the change process. So when there is resistance, I don't want to do this. I want to be able to drink wine on weekends with my friends is one resistance that a lot of people have to abstinence. And they think, oh, well, I'm not an alcoholic, and I should be able to drink some wine. And it's basically because they want to, and their brain tells them that this should be okay because it's not sugar, it's not chocolate, it's not the food. But it is. It's the same substance. It's just been fermented, you know. But that's resistance to and denial. And as we go through something like that, we need to listen to it. We need to let them talk about it, and the pros and the cons, and find a way for the and get to a part in the change process, so that a person is willing maybe to not do it for a month. Would that be something they'd be willing to do, or think they could do, or something like that? So, but as we were talking about here, is the to really establish the desire, the ability, the reason, the need, the commitment. So why are they here? Do they have a desire to get skinny, to feel the freedom of not eating the foods that hijacks their brains? Do they feel they have some ability to do that? What's the reason for it? What's the need for it? And what's the commitment there? So when we have resistance, to maybe bring it back to, in some way, help the person bring it back to recognizing the desire in all of this, the thorns, as Stefan talks about it as. So as we do that, the person may be reunited in their minds and their emotions, to specifically in their emotions, they will remember again why they're there and what the desire is. And okay, oh yes, I remember now that when I had wine before, I would binge, like Laura did, you know. It's a really good thing to hear that from you. So I'm sorry about the noise around here. There's not much I can do about it. I hope you can hear me. So 6 is developing a change plan. Collaborating with the client to make a plan that they perceive as doable. So this is what I was suggesting to you, Mandy, that we find a time, maybe half hour or something, that 15 minutes even, that we'd go over the things that you'd be willing to do as a starting point with making a change, or with anyone here, you know, anybody wanting to do that, you'd be, I'd be willing to do that with you. So what am I feeling that is doable for me at this point? And I tell you, when you are working with people that have faced powerlessness in their lives, there's a part of them that knows that they cannot do it. They cannot follow a diet. They cannot not have it when the craving comes. That's the basic. So how do we move them from the desperation of the powerlessness to the hope that it may be doable? And the key to it is that when I am trying to do it on my own and by myself, you know, I've done all those things and they haven't worked. But, you know, are you willing to maybe hold my hand and we do it together and see what happens with that? Are you willing to do what helps a lot of people that have this kind of difficulty, which is to go to meetings, do groups, and do more work. So consolidating client commitment, finding the change plan, and elicit more commitment talk about the change plan. And 8, integrating motivation interviewing with other intervention methods. And so that might be go out for a walk, do a project list each day, send in your food every day, go to 3 meetings a week, and do mindfulness training, do yoga, do whatever it is that you might be supported for you. So this is a little more about engagement and building rapport. And here's more about the ORS, which is basically the engagement work, which is open-ended questions that have helped them to say more. Affirmations, accurate empathic reflections, and summarizing. Help you to create a safe environment and strong therapeutic relationship with the person, and the person feels heard and understood enough to be willing to undertake the work of change. So here's the ORS, something about each one of them. Open-ended questions, the kind of questions that open the door to more words from the client than from you. And I am actually going to leave you guys with the rest of this, because we're on top of the hour. And I would love for you to come up with, as you have read this, go on YouTube, get books around motivational interviewing, something to read and listen to on YouTube or something. And so indulge in this technique and understanding of it for this coming week, and come up with questions and subject around it for next week. So at this point, any questions? I just wanted to go over the chores and assignments for this week. It is, we're going to be meeting with Marty Lerner next week, which is probably going to be about a couple of hours from 8 to 10 a.m. Eastern Time. Then we will have 2 hours to do process group work and go over the emotional diary and more of the first step of writings. And I hope you will be doing your writings, whichever that you haven't done. And I support you to be willing to read some of them in the next class. And we will be doing more of working on this motivational interviewing and going through this a little more. And any questions and concerns about that, and or other counseling techniques. As we go forward, we're going into chapters on case management, crisis intervention, patient education, and there's different referrals and stuff. So we'll be continuing with the chapters in the workbook, and I encourage you to really start setting something up in the drop boxes for the assignments, and that show that you are really keeping up with them. And they do not have to be perfect. They just do need to show that you have read them over, you thought about them, and you've done some work on them. And then again, I encourage you to meet with each other and read the first step assignments with each other, and go over the assignments from the workbook together, and get support in doing this. It's a we program, and when we do it together, it makes it so much easier than when we one by one are trying to do it on our own, in our own room, someplace, wherever we are in the world. So just a quick check-in, William, Esther, Laura, and if we could just go around the room, just a quick check-in if there's any, how you doing, and if there's anything else, questions or something, concerns. William.
Yes, so we go tonight to, we turn our clocks an hour ahead. You do that in Iceland? So the session will be at a different time then.
Okay, so you changed time tonight, so next week,
So we go ahead.
it will be at a different time in Iceland, yes, yes.
So it's still 8 o'clock here.
Right.
Okay, that's fine, that's all.
Okay, thank you for letting us know about that. So, Esther?
It's not, I don't know what I should say, but thank you for this class. And I have been working with Benny and Vanessa. So, and Laura, she is coming in that project too.
Great.
So I will send something to my folders that I have finished to do it tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you, Esther. Nice to see you. Lovely face. Laura?
If I have some questions or
Yeah, just any feedback or questions or just a goodbye or whatever is in your heart.
just ask, since you were saying if it's 8 o'clock Eastern time, is it earlier or later in Iceland?
Then it's going to be earlier in Iceland. Then it's only going to be 4 hours between. So we will start at 12 o'clock instead of 1 o'clock in Iceland.
Then I'm good.
Okay, thank you. So Anna, Benny, and Larissa, and Mandy.
Yeah, this is Anna. I can say thank you for this today. I think maybe the 15 minutes, if you want to do follow-up, I may say I may be in touch with you, but for me, I think I'm now practicing my feelings, feeling my feelings and in my body all over and relaxing into them. And not staying in my head so much. So I feel supported in the group to take on the challenge of that homework for the week. I am excited about it. To have the permission to feel my feelings.
Wonderful. Thank you, Anna. And then we have Benny.
Yeah. I have already made 3 screening and interviewing different persons. I have not written so much down, especially in the assignments. That's something which I have left to do. And I have been noting during the lectures. And yeah, I'm on my way and feel inspired every class. Thank you, Esther.
Thank you, Benny. Clarissa?
Yeah, I enjoyed the session today, and I am excited that I can now gear some of the homework with the people that I've been doing the screenings with, and I feel pretty positive about it because they're both attend OA already, so it's kind of, they're in this 12-step zone, so I don't kind of have to walk them through all that because they both work in the field of addiction. So I think it'll be beneficial for me, instead of doing the Anna case, to kind of pick one of them to kind of focus more on, and I think it'll make it more applicable and real to me. And yeah, I look forward to another act today.
Thank you, Clarissa. And Mandy, you finish it for us today. You're muted.
I'm pretty familiar with motivational interviewing. I mean, that's something that you use with addictions every day. Yeah, I'm where I think where Anna is at too. I'm gonna try to explore my feelings because I'm finding a lot of them are coming up. So I'm gonna try to do more of that and do more of the sheets and focus on I feel.
Wonderful,
Thank you.
Mandy. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So everybody, thank you for a wonderful morning and afternoon for the Icelanders. And I really, really look forward to you. I know that you're going to, for next week, and I know that you're going to be thrilled with Marty. He is a jewel, very special and incredibly wise and experienced in working with food addiction and eating disorders. So I am stopping here, running up to the meeting, and I'm going to tell them about your wonderful work today, and look forward to hearing from all of you during the week. So thank you very much, you guys. And I'm going to be